Hi YouTube. So it's been a while and I just wanted to make a video about my journey into medical school because I feel like everybody's perspective is unique and it's good to have different experiences or like know people with different experiences and how they got into med school because getting different perspectives helps you understand your own. Um, so I guess I'll start from the very beginning because they always ask you this in interviews on like why you want to be a doctor or like when you decided you want to be a doctor. Um, I'll start in elementary school because I didn't know I wanted to be a doctor per se, but I knew I wanted to help people in some way, like in terms of health, because I said that I wanted to be the president of the United States. And the reason for being president of the United States was so that I could ban smoking. And yes, now I know that's an infringement on people's freedom, but I wanted them to live a healthier life, and I just wanted people to not hurt themselves. So, um, like, just make their lifestyle better. And um, so essentially, I didn't translate that to being a doctor right away, but like throughout middle school and high school, I like was a good student. I was involved in a lot of like extracurriculars. I volunteered a lot, and so I volunteered with organizations like March of Dimes and Relay for Life, and I just was like, oh wow, there's a lot of things that affect people in terms of health. So like March of Dimes is about premature babies, and then Relay for Life, it's very popular. It's mainly like cancer research. So I was like very interested um, in like why we're raising so much money for these things. So that kind of triggered, oh, okay, so health is really important to people. And I am trying to make people healthier already in some way. So I did really well throughout middle school and high school. Um, did a lot of extracurriculars like on top of the volunteering, and I like um, knew was going to go to university. I just feel like that was already like granted and given to me, and I take that for granted sometimes. But I am so grateful that I was able to go to university on a full ride. So I have no debt from college, and so I went into my undergrad as a biochemistry and Latin major. Biochemistry for the prerequisites and the fact that I knew that like I wanted some sort of science, so it was good to not only have prerequisites for medical school, but um, also I was grounded in the humanities, like in understanding people a little bit better. Um, by reading Latin texts from ancient Rome. I mean, it's like I just understand Latin texts better too, but it was good. Um, so throughout undergrad, I was involved in research. I continued to volunteer regularly, and it kind of was really busy. So I was caught up in all these things. And then the application cycle came around junior year, and I wasn't prepared for it. But I applied anyway in a rush to try to apply and like get in right after college. Um, Obviously, that wasn't in my favor, so um, I like didn't get in the first round, and then I reapplied like immediately after. Um, so my reapplication wasn't a success because I hadn't changed much since my previous application. I like turned in that application late, and then I turned in the next one like on time, right on the dot. I did change my I rewrote my essays and like personal statement and stuff, but it still like didn't change much. I didn't change like how I approached everything. Like I also didn't get more experiences. So that second application cycle wasn't good either. So I was a reapplicant twice. the following year I like got more experiences. I was out of college, I'd graduated, got both of my degrees, and then I was teaching chemistry for a while and working with more people in that way, and then volunteering at more at like hospitals and scribing a little bit because I now had more free time. And then I drove back and forth between cities 2 hours away from each other in order to get those experiences. So that was kind of a hassle, but I got to enjoy so many things. And then I did my MPH because I'm really interested in like public health and like how we ended up actually stopping like smoking for quite a lot of people and like preventing deaths through public health. And so um, that all culminated into a better application my third time around. I also retook the MCAT, of course, because my old one was the old one. So it was out of like the 45. And so I retook it, and it didn't improve too much, but it was like still competitive enough. Um, so then I also looked into DO schools as a like alternative to MD schools. So the DO schools I applied to, um, I actually really like the philosophy of DO, and so I ended up like going to those schools' open houses and talking to the dean. And while I was, or like I had already applied, but after I talked to the dean, I got into her office and like spoke to her one on one. She got me an interview. So that was one of the major reasons why I think I got in this cycle. I mean, I had also gotten into a different school. I had 5 interviews the third cycle, and I got into a couple more schools. Um, but I had really wanted to stay in state, and I wanted to go to Midwestern because of that talk with the dean. So um, that really allowed me to really solidify a spot, I think, because even though I was waitlisted afterwards and got into the school like late May. So it was really late into the cycle, but I was still able to get in. Um, yeah, and there were so many things that I did in between. Like I traveled, I volunteered, I scribed, um, got my MPH. So there are so many things that contributed to me getting into medical school. Not gonna lie, it was a long and grueling process, and I was probably depressed partway through. And um, I know that's not what everyone wants to hear, but like that you need that sort of thing to prove that you really want to be in it, because that those 2 cycles that I like went in, I had a lot of rejection, and that was hard to hear that I wasn't good enough. Um, but I really needed that to like know that I am actually good enough. That I needed like a little bit extra like motivation to apply with more like experiences. So that's my journey in terms of getting into medical school. I mean, there's so many more journeys to go. Comment below, just let me know if you have any questions as to my school specifically, DO versus MD. I don't have the MD experience, but I will give you a DO perspective. And for sure, I can definitely like tell you about how to apply through ACOMAS or like AMCAS and the differences and like getting letters of rec and all that stuff. Just let me know what you want to see. I'll in the comments, or follow me on Instagram and shoot me a DM. I'm totally okay with that. Yeah. See you next time. Bye.